Hello everyone, my name is Jordan. Today we'll be starting a new series on my YouTube channel called History/Hauntings and Makeup. This is kind of inspired by Murder Mystery Makeup Monday by Bailey Sarian. Everything I have that I will be talking about in this video is about one certain location in the United States. I'm going to go over all 50 states, and each state I picked a certain haunted location, and I will be telling you facts about it and how it's haunted, more like why it's haunted, where it is, like some of the history on it, and going from there. So I'm going to start off the East Coast. I'm starting with Maine today, and I'll be doing my makeup as I go on, basically just describing it. Every resource I use to find all my information, I will put down in the description box. It actually be like websites. So you basically got to look for, so if you want anything more about it, just search them that are in the description box below. Okay, so let's start talking about it as I start doing my makeup. So Maine, Fort Knox is what I picked. It's located off the west banks of the Penobscot River/Bay. I actually went there. That's one of the reasons why I picked it. And I watched a few videos on it, but I never really saw anything about it. Like, I've seen videos based on it, but never like something like this. And I figured it'd be a cool way to start my series. So, what is Fort Knox? Fort Knox is one of the best preserved military bases from the New England era on the East Coast. On the sea coast, is how they put it. So, it was established in 1844, a while ago, to protect Maine if they got attacked. Basically, since it was more Massachusetts, was it? I think that was Massachusetts at the time, but it's okay. So they put that there basically to protect that from British power, like, taking it over. So, like, the British cannot have above the colonies. And the state of Maine, before it was a state, was involved in many wars with Canada and Britain. So if the Britain people wanted to just be like, oh, we're gonna try to take out Maine today, there would be a way to protect the Penobscot Bay and River. Actually, there is an observatory there now. Just a side note, there is an observatory there. I'm not sure if it's open right now because of COVID, because like COVID's shutting down everything, but it was open when I went. That's another reason why I picked this story, is because I went there, and I'm gonna tell you my experience. This is the only one I really went to. Just a side note, that is the only one I really went to. And I just want to kind of tell you guys my experience there, like how I felt, and that's gonna be more towards the end of the video. I'll also list everything I'm using down in the description box. So let's talk about the guy who made the fort. His name was Joseph Totten, and he was actually an engineer, and him with a number of other engineers who actually served under a supervisors all the time, like whenever they were doing work, he was always under a supervisor, actually built the fort. The construction lasted from 1844 to 1869, if that tells you much. And the fort was named after Major General Harry Knox, the first American Secretary of War from, assuming, Massachusetts. They don't really give me like a state on it. Just so like you guys know, I'm kind of doing like a cut crease look, like a fall cut crease, just so you're aware. He was born in Massachusetts, but he retired to Maine in 17, I don't know why I keep trying to say 19, 1796. When I said Massachusetts, I really meant Boston. I don't know why I just said Massachusetts, like I needed a general location. The fort got its first set of troops in 1863 to 1866. Those troops were mostly like voluntarily undergoing like training for whatever reasoning, and they were there basically mostly before they were sent to active post, including members of the celebrated 20th Maine. I don't like how this eye is going, so I'm gonna take it off, and then I'm gonna keep with the story, but I'm gonna take the eye off and restart it. They also had troops stationed at the fort during the American-Spanish War in 1896, but it never saw any military action. Like, this never saw anything, any military, never was attacked, basically just sat there. In 1844, the state of Maine decided it wanted to build the fort, and more so to speak, fort known as Fort Knox, for General Harry. They wanted to put it in the heart of the bay, more so to speak. They called it the mouth of the bay, but they put it more in the heart of the bay, Penobscot Bay, just so like they knew when something was coming. At the time, it was one of the most expensive and the largest projects of the state of Maine to make in that time period, and it was never fully built. And it literally cost over $1 million to make this place. Oh, and the guy who's actually building the fort and built the fort, he actually worked for the Army Corps, like building, like the fortification Army Corps. And after the Civil War, the fort was never really watched, never really guarded again. Obviously, it was never guarded again until the Spanish and American War, which happened in 1898. Also, at that time, they put a controlled minefield at the bed of the river just in case like anybody would get through. They heard the kaboom and they're like, oh crap, someone's trying to get in. And once again, they never really saw anything, so that leaves a question: that is the thing still there? Sorry about that. But that leaves a question too: is the mines still there? And if they are, do you hit them and they'll maybe activate? Like, you never know. And I don't think you can really actually like put a boat in the Penobscot Bay. So I don't think there's much to worry about. But after it was never manned, they did have a guy. He was called the Ordnance, and he did take care of the place. He was basically the caretaker for the whole time. There actually was a sergeant assigned to the post to like keep up general maintenance, and at one time actually the post held torpedoes for other naval branches. It doesn't really like tell you which ones. And in 1923, I know, a long time ago, the state wound up, or whoever owned it, wound up putting it up for sale. It was 125 acres, and it had the fort on it, and they just wound up like trying to sell it, and it never sold, and the state wound up buying it and putting it on the Maine historical site. It's like a point in history. Now we're going to be moving on more of the ghosts and like what has been reported as sightings go and all that. There is one room in the garrison where you can hear a little girl screaming for her mommy, and like when they like do EVP sessions, they always ask, where's your mommy or who's your mommy, and she just doesn't answer. Like, it's kind of unknown, more so to speak. There are many people who've been touched, quote unquote, by unseen forces in some of the rooms. People have actually been touched on the shoulder and no one's there. They've heard footsteps walking down one of the long corridors, because there's a lot of them, because it's like open in the middle, obviously, and I think there's like above photos of like inside the fort. Their walls, like on the inside, they have holes just in case there was an attack to like shoot out of, and those also are one of the longer corridors, but there have been unexplained footsteps down them, and lore often occurred sergeant named Lepin Harji, I'm definitely saying that wrong, who died there, and it was his daily duty to open and close the fort, and many say you can still hear the sound of the doors being opened and closed, and they assume it's by him because he used to be the one who does it. And it's all around the fort. There have been reports saying that people smell the cherry pipe tobacco that Hughie used to smoke. Apparitions in a dusty coat have often been seen throughout the fort. And Hughie, a member of the cavalry, who spent a significant time there during his 13 years of staying at the site, has also been reported. And I found a website where East Coast ghost trackers, they're like there's like a ghost hunting people, have actually captured an EVP of an unexplained laugh, which is kind of, you know, terrifying if you're not prepared for it. Friends of Fort Knox got an email from a retired New Hampshire state trooper, Keith Riskin, who was a trooper in New Hampshire and went to the fort. He came across something he couldn't explain when he visited, so he described it as a white object with no head or limbs that appeared in an arch. Actually appeared in a arched doorway. I didn't get doorway part in there. I think my camera stopped recording when I did that. It appeared in an arched doorway approximately 15 feet away from where he was standing. And it moved from the right to the left and then just vanished. Like, didn't go anywhere, you didn't see him walk away or anything. And no one was there with him. And he went to the end of the passage. It was like standing passageway 15 feet away from him. And he went to the end of it and nobody was there. He claims that if it had legs, it would stand approximately 5'8", so approximately my height. I am 5'8", and that's a pretty tall figure to like find, if you feel me. And that it would disappear in a place where no human has gone. He's seen it on 11/13/2011, so that's a decent amount of time ago. The East Coast ghost trackers, they actually did a 35-minute documentary on the fort and about the fort and like explaining and their experiences. One segment of the whole documentary outlined a ghost they called Mike. And that's where I didn't find anything else on it. Like, I searched and searched, and this is all I really found. And I actually had an experience there too when I was there. Might sound weird, but I did. And I generally could not explain it. Generally. So it was me, my aunt, my 2 cousins, and my uncle. I just wound up going with them somehow. And we're walking down one of the corridors. It was more on the east side of the building, I want to say. We're walking. Like people do. And it's like 2 steps and then a platform. So it's like a weird corridor, but it goes down. Okay, cool. Well, as it goes down, we thought we saw a person standing at the other end of the corridor. At least I thought. I looked over to my aunt. I'm like, hey, did you just see him? She's like, who's him? And then, like, she saw him, and he was standing there, just almost like he was looking at us. Like, it was like he was creepily looking at us. Okay. So, I, like, start booking it towards him. Be like, hey, who are you? Booking it. And he went and ran into the one next room. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a person. When I get there, there's gonna be a person standing there, looking at me like, I ran away from you, huh? You thought I was a ghost. I get down to the room, now it's just me, and there was 2 people in that room. A woman and a young boy. And I'm like, hey, did you see that guy running here? She's like, what guy? I'm like, a man just ran in here. She's like, nobody just ran in here. And then I got chills, because it was like a room with like an old cart. So I'm like, okay, good joke. I'm like saying this out loud. I'm like, good joke, who are you? Come out, I want to talk to you. Nothing. Literally just nothing. Like, okay. So, and then I was walking, I can't really tell if this was my fault, but I was walking down a hallway. And, more so to speak, out in the yard. And I actually found out some cool things there, how they didn't have freezers. Like, obviously they didn't have freezers, but they didn't have anywhere to store their cold food, so they put it in the ground. They put food in the ground. And, one thing they did tell us is that a cannon, actually, they had cannons up on the one deck. And, a cannon, actually, the deck collapsed. And they're like, well, where did this cannon go? It just fell. Like, the cannon went to unknown location. Well, there was a wall. It was like the floor that collapsed and then a wall, and they couldn't see the wall through the floor. Well, there was actually, it fell into a room that no one knew about. And, there was chains and arms like this. Like skeletons, like this. And then it was like hectic, I guess, because they like found the bodies and they're like, who is this? So those are people that unknown died there. And so as I was saying, I was walking through the yard, like I was on like a stone path almost, and I just fell, just right on my face, literally just fell. I fell into the grass. One of the tour guides, or one of the people who worked there, came running over to me and like, what just happened? I'm like, I think I just fell, or like, I thought I felt something on my back. And he's like, oh, that's what was the name? Jeff. That's Jeff. I'm like, Jeff. Now telling me a story of a I don't know if it was more like an army person or like a military person or just like a civilian that wound up living there, but he had a broken leg, supposedly, and back then there wasn't that great of care, and he kept falling on it, and right where I fell in that area, he said that there has been people actually falling there, like just falling, face planting, like their legs give out, they were pushed. And he said that might have been Jeff. It wouldn't be a broken leg at this time. Like, in this day and age, be considered a broken foot, broken leg, something upon a broken something in like the lower, and like the leg area. He had like it broken, and he didn't know, and he kept falling on it, and at one point he was like, get the leg off me. There was nothing after that on if they actually cut his leg off or not, but in that actual area where I fell, he actually has seen people fall. People have been pushed. Another thing I've heard while I was there is that there's like a spiral staircase on one of the tower mounts, like the tower pieces where you go upstairs. People have fallen down that, fallen up that. I almost fell up that. I didn't actually, but that was very common, I guess. The corridor. If you're up on top, like you can get up there. I actually didn't know how to get up there, so I never went up there. But when my uncle was up there, there have been reports of people running through the yard when there's nobody there. Like, it's just people running through the yard, but there's no people running through the yard. They actually had fake cannons. I think some of them were real. They had real cannons. I think some fake cannons, because like some of them probably weren't the best looking when they found them. Actually, no, I don't want to actually look my hair like this. But, they actually found cannons, like cannons. There, like they had put fake cannons up to like, they also had like an old cart. They had all this cool like older stuff, and like it was really cool. I highly recommend people to go see it. Like it's, I don't know if it's open or closed, and they also have books there. I actually can't remember if I, let me find it. I actually got a, it says historical American cannon, naval cannon, and it actually moves, and it's actually like really cute. It's a cannon, and that I got at Fort Knox when I went there, and it was just like really cute, like something you normally don't see. But like if you go up there, there is ghost tours, I think in October, if you ever want to go up there. Normally October, September, October, but I would not go. I mean, I want to go, but I can't. I don't live up there. Don't live around there. But yeah, hope you guys liked today's video. Please give it a thumbs up, and let me know if you want me to keep doing the series, because I have a whole bunch of ideas for every state. So next, we'll probably be going south, like from Maine, if you know what I mean. Okay, bye-bye.